Okay, let's start building a scrapbook page. Now, the movie Batman vs. Superman just came out. I know this might date this video, but I'm going to try and do something in the theme of that. I'm not going to do exactly the same thing because that's been done, but I'm going to take the idea of Batman and I'm going to play with this. So these are the images that I've found so far. I'm going to have a city shot, I have some logos, I liked this really green, interesting background. Now this is what a designer would do. They would create all of this stuff and they would add these designs on top of the color, add and change the colors. So I'm going to use this, but I'm going to make my own background. And with the green, I thought of the Riddler. So I'm going to kind of play up that idea in the Batman series. So to start with, we go to File, and we're going to go to New. And of course, we're going to make this 8.5 by 11. Now I'm going to do mine sideways, so I'm going to make it 11 by 8.5. And everything from the internet is not resolution 300. Remember, it's the lowest resolution, so it's only resolution 72. And we are going to combine that with the 300 to kind of get a nice halfway point. So we're going to make this 150. So it's not as low as the internet, so it's not going to look as pixelated, but it's not quite as high as your photos because the internet images are going to look smaller. So I'm going to say OK to that. All right, so here's my new canvas. If I want to check the sizes, it's still 8.5 by 11, resolution 150. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go get this green background. So I'm going to select all, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste it on here. Now my background image was really large to begin with. So remember what we talked about finding large images. You want to do that. And I can place this wherever I want. If I want it smaller, I can go to Edit, Transform, or my shortcut is just Control T, or for you guys it's going to be Command T on your Macs. So Command T, and if I hold down the Shift key, it won't get distorted. If I let go of the Shift key, it gets all crazy. So I hold down the Shift key and I can shrink it down to whatever size I want it to be. So I want a little bit more of this, and I'm actually going to stretch it out. I like that. And so I'll hit Enter. Okay, so that's my background. Now, as I said, you want to create your own background. So I'm going to mix this with the city picture. So I select all, copy, and I'm going to layer this one in. Now here's the cool thing. When you start to get multiple images, remember your layer modes. I could do a couple things. I could make this one fade. I could also blend it in. So I'm going to start by just seeing what my modes look like and seeing if there's anything that I like in here. Kind of like that one. Oh, I really like this one. It's really soft and subtle. That one's a little stronger. So I'm just going to kind of go through until I find something that I like a lot. And when I find one that I like, I'm going to settle on that. Now I still have this bar going across, and we are going to change that by using our gradient tool and on a mask. So that's something we've talked about, but we're going to kind of refresh that. So I'm going to move this down. You can move it if you want, but I'm going to fade this line out. So to do that, I'm going to go to this layer where I know that line is coming from, and I'm going to turn this layer into a mask. So remember on the bottom, this is our mask button, and now I have a mask on here. Now normally I could take my brush tool, and since my mask is white, I'm painting with black, and I could start to paint that in. But you're going to see it still has my brush marks, and I don't necessarily want that, so let's put that back. There we go. So I want this to fade nice and smooth, and I can't really do that with the brush tool, but I can do that with the gradient tool. Remember, the gradient goes from light to dark. Now we had all these different color gradients that we've used before, but in this one, we want to use it on the mask, so we want it to be from white to black. And here's the cool thing. If I click and drag, oh, wrong way. Let's flip that. Let's go to black to white. And I drag this down just a little bit, you're going to see it starts to fade. Now I'm on the circle, let's go to the straight line. And you can see it made that little spot right there. So I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to go again. I'm going to drag this down just a little bit. And you see how that faded really nicely? I'm going to do it one more time. And it totally blends that out. And if you look over here at my mask, you can see it went from black and it faded slowly into white. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to undo that. So you can see the line is there. My mask is empty. I use my gradient tool from black to white, and I start and I want to fade this away. So I drag it down and it fades for me. If you see any more of that line, just start a little bit lower and fade that out. And now the two seamlessly blend in because it makes that edge blend right away. So that's a really cool thing you can do with masks and make things blend. I could do that even stronger from side to side. and make my city blend into the background. I could do it from the corner. So it's really whatever you want to do, whatever parts you want to fade and blend things together. So I'm going to go with that. All right, next thing of building my background, I'm going to go to the logo. I want that Batman character, this one. So I'm going to select all. I'm going to copy. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to place him in. Now he's looking great, but I want him on the opposite side. So I'm going to go and flip him. So I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and I'm going to flip horizontal. Sure. There we go. Now he's on the other side. So anything you want to do with a lot of stuff, it's always in Transform. Now again, I can start with my modes and just see what things look like. See if there's anything that works really well. That could be really cool. So I like to start here and see what I have. And then again, if I need to, I can always make things into a mask and I can fade things away. So you really get to play with this and decide what it is you like and see how it's going to work. So I'm just going to go until I find something that I kind of like. I really like this one. I don't need to do any fading here. I might change the size though. So I can still move him around. I don't like this little piece right here, so I am going to turn it into a mask. And this time I'm going to use the brush tool, and I'm just going to go take this one little bit out right there, and now it's gone. Now I don't use the eraser, I use the mask in case I make mistakes. I can always go back. So I have this as all my background figure, my character in there. I like that. The last thing I want to do is I want to do some little things with this question mark. I told you I really liked that, and I want to use the sort of the Riddler idea. So let's make this into a brush first. So if you remember how to make a brush, you select what you want. So I want this question mark. And then I go to Edit. I go to Define Brush Preset. There it is. And I'm done. I hit OK. Now when I go back over here, I'm going to make a brand new layer. I always like to make new layers so I don't mess anything up that I have that I like. There's my empty layer. If I click here, I can name this layer so I know what it is. So I'm going to call it question mark. So I know what I'm doing here. I want it to be green, so I'm going to go find a green that I like. Let's do a dark green. Let's see how that works. And I have my brush tool. I'm going to go find that brush that I just made. And there it is. And I'm going to go, now here's the cool thing. See this little folder right here? When I go into that, I can also rotate my tool. So now my question mark's on an angle. Or I can rotate it this way, and it's on this angle. So it's a really fun thing to do, so I'm going to kind of keep that off to the side so I can play with this. And I'm just going to question mark. I might shrink it down or make it bigger. Question mark this way. I might rotate it this way. I might go change this color into something dark and stormy, like that. And I might do one this way. I might shrink it down. And, oh, I like that. I'll go this way now. Oops, sorry. I'm going to make it pretty much straight. There we go. And I can just kind of do all kinds of decorative things on here. Like he doesn't know what's going on. Again, I like to change things up so it doesn't look too copied. And I'll close this down. So I have all my question marks in this layer. And again, just to see what happens, I'm going to go and I'm going to play with the modes and see if anything cooler happens with how those could blend together. If I could keep it soft like that, I could flip it so it's completely different and make it lighter. There's just some really fun things to do. So I always say, oh, I like that's kind of gray and light. Just go through with your modes, see what you find. I'm going to go back to that gray one and see if there's something that you like. Now I like this, I just wish it wasn't quite as strong on here. So I can also go to the opacity and I can say, just make that a little bit lighter, make that a little bit more transparent. So I can still keep the colors, but not as bold. And now I have my background of everything else will go on top of this. And now I've really become a designer. I'm really a graphic designer because I took all of these plain simple images and I did something with them. I added all these things in and I made this background. So I'm not stealing anymore from somebody. I'm taking all of my images and I'm making something brand new. So I want you to be a designer. I want you to play with this. And your goal for the next day or two is to really create your background. Then I will give you the next step and we're going to talk about how to put your text on there, how to warp it, how to do all those other really fun things. So good luck.